Hey, badass business owners, welcome to another episode of the Local Small Business Coach Podcast, where each episode we work on getting you to $100,000 in take-home pay. So if you're all ready to boost your profits, increase your sales, improve your processes, and develop stronger teams so you can stop living job to job, then let's dive in. Hey, badass business owners, it's Tammy. Welcome back to the show. So I got a request a few days ago. Actually, it was last week, the week before. I don't remember. Everything runs together. I got a request wondering if I would ever do a podcast episode on Thumbtack, Angie List, Home Advisor, basically paying for leads. And I've talked about this a little bit in the past, but I thought I would kind of take the bull, run with it, and see what I could come up with on this. Now, I'm going to share a couple different things because I wanted to do more than just share my opinion of this. So what was interesting is I actually posted a post on Facebook in two different groups. One was my badass local business owner group, and then one in a group of business owners that has about 30,000 people in it. It's got a large group of people. Now, while not all of them will be local business owners like yourself, majority, there's a big chunk, and I knew that they would be the ones that would come out of the woodwork because they're the ones that are typically using that. And I just asked them, like I said, hey, just curious, doing some research. What's your thoughts on these three companies? Just so that I could kind of see what people came back at. And I already knew I was going to get mixed reviews. And I guess that's the first thing that I want to talk about is the fact that, you know what? There's people out there that love using these particular businesses. And then there's some people that say run as fast as you can and everything else. And I'm going to try to explain a little bit about why they think that way. The one thing you're going to find is the people that are kind of in the middle, like they don't really care, typically have not used the services. So I will tell you that if you come across somebody who's kind of in the kind of feeling of it, more than likely they probably haven't used it. They base their opinions off of what they've been told by everybody else. Now, obviously, I have not personally used them, so I can't give you some personal insights other than what it is that I hear from the business owners that I work with and the folks that I've talked to about it. And like I said, I jotted down, I'm going to actually share their words with you. Now, the first thing, like I said, is it's all over the place. I will say that the vast majority of people said do not use them. And I'm going to go into in a minute some of the reasons why. When I talk to the people that like it, typically they're in their first year or early years of their business, and they like the fact that, that it sends them leads, and they like the part that it does get them going. And even the people that don't like it, some of them, or if they were on the fence, they said, hey, it's really good in the beginning for you if you need help gathering leads. But what they say is it's not worth the amount of money that you pay and the percentage that they take, because you don't get necessarily always the most qualified leads, and the fact that they don't like the fact that they're going out to multiple people in many occasions, in which case you're still trying to shop yourself around and be the one that they love and pick, kind of like you're the one that gets that rose, if you will, since everybody's familiar with those bachelor and bachelorette things. Even if you've never watched it, we all know what it means to get a rose. And it's kind of that theory of what it is. So like I said, from the good side, I don't hear tons of stuff that comes from it. They do vet you and they do send them to you. You do get some leads. But like I said, you are basic. It's not an exclusive lead to yourself. It is one in most cases that you are sharing with multiple people. Now, if you're really quick, you get on the phone really quick, it sounds like you have a really good shot of winning people over, especially if you have the right customer service and everything else. There's a lot of pieces that go into that. For those of you that is, and this might be why people move away from it, is because the busier you get, obviously, the more difficult it is for you to answer right away or on that first call. A lot of times you're on the roof, you're doing something, and then you get back to people, in which case then you can finally get them. And by then somebody else may have beat you to the punch. They may have bit you too, but they definitely have beaten you to the punch. So that might be where some of that love starts to change about 6 months, a year in, the busier that you get. But here's some of the things that I wanted to share from a negative side. I'm not necessarily a fan of it based off of what I've heard from people. And it was long before I did this survey of individuals. And I'm all about, if you're going to spend your money, I want you to look at your return on investment. I think there's a lot of different ways for you to be able to get more money, a more return for the money that you spend on your advertising. And while, yes, these people will send you leads, I think there's other things that you could do. Some of them don't cost anything and some of them cost minimal. I think that for the same amount of money, I think that you can get just better quality leads that are 100% yours without you having to fight somebody else. So I tend to be more on that side of the fence if you're wondering where I fall. But here, if I share some of the feedback from people. So these are using their words. Some people said it's like the race to the bottom, who can be the cheapest. It's more like people price shopping versus value shopping. All they want is the cheapest person who can do the job. They said that it's inconsistent. The inconsistent leads are not worth it. They said that some people said that it was kind of hit and miss. It's like a pay to play. They basically build their brand versus your brand because it's all about them. And you're just kind of trying to help with that. Let's see here. People, once again, saying the same thing, run your own targeted marketing for your own ideal client, kind of what I've already said. They get you into some bidding wars. It's more of a bidding site. Then sometimes you're bidding on things that you haven't seen, so you bid incorrectly. Heard that actually from a couple of people in the landscaping business, because you're trying to bid sight unseen. People chasing to the bottom, more of that. Subpar leads, waste of time and money. That they hound you for advertising and you just don't need that. Let's see, that's more of the same thing. They said that it's good to use to get off of the ground, but long term it's unsustainable for you to continue to grow your business with them. Said do your homework on the particular area that you're in. This is a great one. Do your homework in the area that you're in, just to kind of see and get a feel for it. Some areas seem to be better than others. Let's see here. People have been ripped off or felt like they were ripped off, that they weren't getting what they paid for. Let's see here. Yeah, it's kind of like the same thing over and over. As you can tell, it wasn't very positive with what people were thinking. So, I think at the end, but then I listened to a podcast the other day by somebody and they absolutely loved it. And they said that it was great for them to grow their business. So I kind of sense that some areas are better than others. It does also depend upon where you're at from a price point standpoint. And if you're willing to do that run for the bottom and be the best priced and you're willing to do all that. To me, it really sounds like it's a really good thing for somebody trying to get their business off the ground. Somebody who's, because there's something that you do differently at the beginning of your business. At the beginning of your business, you're kind of, you don't discriminate as much as far as one job over the other. Definitely never people. We never discriminate people-wise. But when it comes from a job to job, we chase things that we shouldn't be chasing. And the better we get at something and the bigger our business grows, we tend to let some jobs go. Like even today, even in my business, there's some times where I just know that I'm not the right person for somebody. And if I don't think I'm the right person for somebody, or it's just going to cause me tons more headache or time or energy, whatever the case may be, that I could be spending somewhere different, then I'm okay with letting go. It doesn't happen that often, but I don't have to feel tied that I have to do it. But when money gets tight, then yeah, you tend to do that. So it does seem like it works for people that are trying to get their business off of the ground. It's a good way to do that, or expand their business into new territory so they can go ahead and start getting that word of mouth out there. But it does seem like, based off of the feedback from all of the different groups and all the different people, it really does line up with what I've heard in the past from any time I've talked to somebody. So is it worth trying? Possibly. I would talk to other business owners in your local community to find out what their experiences have been. If overall you're finding that it's been pretty positive, then it might be worth dipping your toe in and trying to go down that route. But do have a plan that this is not long-term advertising, that it might be short-term, 1-year advertising. Definitely don't sign up for anything that's beyond that. The shorter the better until you decide if you like what you're going to get. Even in real estate agents, there's people that pay for leads for different things all the time. We get so many phone calls that people want us to buy into their program so they can give us leads. And, my experience has been that you can create just as many leads doing other things. So it really just depends upon if you even have the time, energy, or want to do those things. But I just think you're going to get more for it. Now, with that, I do want to tie in one other thing while I'm on the conversation of advertising, because I did have more conversation with other individuals this week. I had a lot of coaching calls this past week and one-on-one meetings with people. And the advertising line, because I've been diving into people's P&L, and I'm going to talk about this on the next episode, but diving into people's P&L, and when we talk about advertising, there's some people spending some crazy amounts of money on advertising. And that's not a bad thing as long as you're getting the return on the investment. You heard me say this earlier, your ROI, return on that advertising. For example, if you're spending $1,000 on advertising, then you have to ask yourself, not only are you making back that $1,000, but keep in mind, it's not $1,000 of sales. It has to be $1,000 of gross profit to pay for that advertising, because it's got to pay for everything else. Actually, more than gross profit, because you still have the expenses that probably go along with it. And as we continue to dive into your P&L, you're going to understand your income statement. You're going to understand that more and more. But here's the thing. Let's just say you spend $1,000 and you get $5,000. That sounds pretty good. That's, 5 times your money in your investment. But let me ask you this. If you spent that same $1,000 on other types of marketing within your community, for example, can you imagine how much that you could, how much Facebook advertising you could get for $1,000? My gosh, you can run all kinds of campaigns for $50, $100, $200. Never mind what the heck you could do for $1,000. And never mind postcards. Most communities you can do 1,000 houses for $400. And if you did that every single month on consistently, what else could you get versus $1,000 every single month? So I'm not telling you not to do something. What I'm telling you is make sure you're always measuring what you're getting back in return and comparing it to other ways that you could be spending that money. Because if you're going to get 5 times the amount of your money versus 50 times the amount of your money, I can guarantee you're going to shoot for that 50 times the amount of money that you get versus anything. So it really does tie all of the types of advertising in place, because as you grow and as you spend, we all have to do some form. Some people can definitely do word of mouth and they never have to buy a stitch of advertising in their entire career of building their business. That's fantastic. And there is a group of people that do that. And to me, if you can do that, more power to you. And I'm impressed and I love it. And I love those stories. But for, at least half of you have to spend money on some type of advertising to get it out there. So please make sure that whether you go down this whole Thumbtack, Angie's List, Home Advisor, whatever, pay for leads, pay for clicks, if you will, make sure you're looking at that same amount of money, the return on the investment, then look at however else you're spending, because most people that are going out there and saying, hey, pay me $1,000 and I'll go ahead and bring you leads, you have to ask yourself when you see what they do, a lot of times what they're doing is they're doing targeted Facebook ads for you. And I can tell you in most cases, you can do that same exact thing and, take a cheap $12, $50 SEO course or Facebook advertising course, and you can do it yourself for $200, $250 a month. So, that's the whole part of working in your business, or on your business, not just in your business. And you can spend your money more wisely. So just keep that in mind. It's just more of, I wanted to cover this because, like I said, I've had a lot of questions in regards to advertising, but I was getting some specific questions about Thumbtack, Angie's List, Home Advisor, folks like that. And like I said, it's a mixed bag. I would say it's 20% positive, 80% negative. And it definitely seems like a good way for folks that are trying to get their business off of the ground. But most people do pull out of it just because the return on that investment and how much money they make at the end of the day is not, it just ends up costing them too much money. Especially because not only are you paying for the lead, but because you're going with the lowest price that you can bid against, you oftentimes will underbid what you should or low bid. So you're giving up margin there, and then you're turning around and paying them on top of it. So I'm not a fan of them. Do I think they have a place? Yes. Do I think they're great for consumers? Yeah, I do. It helps somebody who doesn't want to look at it. But I think that if you did some really good local advertising and got on Facebook and did anything that you could to really sell yourself within your community, I think you're going to find you're going to have way better return on that investment. That's just me personally. All right, with that, I'm going to go ahead and button this one up, and hopefully you got something from it. And on the next episode, I'm actually going to talk about this past week, I have dived into a lot of profit and loss statements with a lot of different businesses and different types of people, different parts of the country and everything else. And I'm going to share some of the learnings and thoughts that I have from doing that. It was a fun week. And matter of fact, on my Know Your Business Numbers course that I already put out there, we did talk about gross margin, but right now I'm working on the stuff for P&Ls, income statements. And I'm telling you, not only it just reinforced how much this is needed out there, and I'll talk about it a little bit more in the next one. But I'm about halfway done on those modules for profit and loss, so I can't wait. I just want to get them done so I can get them out there for you guys, because it's just I had so much fun this week. I really did, looking for opportunities with people, and I just can't wait to share that with you. But I'm going to go ahead and shut up, button this one up, and I will talk to you on the next episode. Have a great day. Bye.
Hey, before you go, if you're looking to learn more about your business numbers, then check out the Know Your Business Numbers course, where we take a deeper dive into the key numbers, the calculations, the reports that will help you take your business to the next level. My mission is to help everyone love their business numbers. Yes, even including those of you that hate math. So much profit is hidden inside of your business numbers, and I want you to create some awesome profits. So check out the link in the show notes, or head on over to the knowyourbusinessnumberscourse.com. Once again, knowyourbusinessnumberscourse.com. Come join me. Let's go ahead and work on building your profits.